Well, it's the second chat this evening from Bev Pegg, and now we are moving up to the present day.
While my wife was taking a bunch of kids to Germany on a tennis tour, because she was a very good tennis player, I'd got a few days to spare on my own, nothing to do at home. And I thought, what's the... I saw that Ken Rattenbury was playing up at the Trumpet at Bilston in 1996. And I thought, I haven't seen him for years. So I went up to the Trumpet, and I always put my guitar in the back of the car wherever I go. Mm-hmm. And I haven't got it today, mind you. I wouldn't want to spoil the radio programme. But I went up and I saw Ken, and as he kept bringing the stuff in, he said, "Oh, Bev, you know," and we hadn't seen each other for 20 years, I should think. And he said, "How you doing, my lad? All right, you know?" Because, I mean, he must have been knocking on 80 then, 78, 79, 80. And he said, "You got your guitar with you?" And I said, "Yes, in the back, bring it in, you know." Right. So after all these years, I brought my guitar in. I did a session with him at the Trumpet at Bilston with Tony Caldicott on drums, and it was fabulous, you know. And I got the book back, and so I played again with one or two there, and Tony Billingham booked me for his little band. Mm-hmm. And then I'd said to Ken the next time I went, I've always fancied, for old time's sake, just doing a cassette of me doing vocals with a jazz band. And at the same time, Duncan was ill then. It was about a year before he died. Mm-hmm. And Ken said to me, "Do it now, don't leave it, don't think about it, do it now while you've got the chance," which was a great experience again. So I thought, right, I'm going to do it. So I organised Peter Kings, who'd got a mobile recordings.
Yes.
Did all the recording for various jazz bands and jazz festivals.
Records.
BEK, that's it, yeah. And I booked him, and then I thought, right, I'll get a band of all the blokes I used to play with and that. So the first call was Derek Halford on trombone, then Gordon Whitworth on trumpet, my old mate Rick on clarinet, but I wanted it to be a bit more Eddie Condonish, so I wanted a sax player. So they said, well, Zoltan's the best, Zoltan Sagi on tenor. So I'd never met him before, but I booked Zoltan as well, and he came along. I paid him for it, obviously, you know. And then I got Lenthwaite's on bass, Tony Caldicott on drums, because Ken wasn't playing much jazz at the moment, Ken Wright, and Ken Freeman on piano, great pianist, and myself on guitar. And we did this album. I prepared the sort of numbers in advance I wanted, and we started the recording session at 10:30, and it was all finished at 3 o'clock, just like that, and we'd never played together before. And then Derek Halford, after the session, said, "That was good, that was." He said, "We ought to get some gigs with this band." And I hadn't even thought about it. I said, "Oh, yeah." I said, "But of course, you don't know how to get gigs when you've got a band that doesn't exist apart from on a recording."
Exactly.
So I didn't know who to ring or anything, and I thought, well, I'll run a charity gig. So I ran this charity gig at Hagley Community Centre in 1998, which was the first time. And I thought, right, I'll put the money up, and if it loses money and nobody comes, well, I've lost a few £100, you know. But I hired the hall, hired the band, and put some adverts in the local news and things like that. And then I also thought, right, I'll have it for a charity, because people are more likely to come to a gig if it's for charity. So for the Sunfield Homes in Clent, and then and it was packed, you know. So some of the musicians' friends must have come along as well, and it was crammed. And we had fish and chips in the interval, and that's been going on now until this coming 26th of October, and it's the final one, you know.
Right.
Yeah. So we've done about 21. We've raised about £26,000 over those years. That's with wonderful. A jazz gig. And so that's how it all started. And then next thing, I rang a few jazz clubs when they gave me the jazz guide, but most of them only paid peanuts, you know. So we didn't really go to many of them. But the phone started ringing and people started booking us, and we got lots of gigs like that. I did the Upton Jazz Festival for Sir Alan Buckley, and then so he booked a 4-piece to start with, you know, and then after that he dropped me, and I said, "Alan, I appreciate you got a revolver, but I said I really love this festival, and I'll come and do something on my own in interval spots like my own, do a bit of skiffle if you like." And he said, "Well, you know," I said, "I'll do it for nothing," and he said, "Well, you know," he said, "Well, come along," and I came along, and he said, "I'll tell you what, I'll give you £60 a day do 3 days and just where there's bands, just go and do 10 minutes in the interval and that's that, you know. So I did that and I got a bit of a laugh, you know, from the folks. And so he booked me doing solo spots for about 2 or 3 years. And then he said, well, get your band. And so we got the band and we played Under the Bridge. And then from then on, he booked the band every year. And then in sort of about 2004, he'd booked this chap who did Lonnie Donegan, had got a Lonnie Donegan tribute crew. And he had got a manager and he upset Sir Alan and he fell out with him or something like that, which is unusual. And then he rang me. He said, you can play skiffle, can't you? I said, yeah. And he said, can you get a skiffle group together? So I said, okay, yeah. Because we did a little skiffle bit in between the jazz thing, as Chris Bobby used to do and Ken Collier. So I got Ken on drums and Harry, my mate, on bass. And I thought, who should I get on guitar? Because I thought I won't play solo guitar, just strumming. So I thought, well, I'll get the best I can think of, that Paul Degville. So he came along and, of course, he was panicking because, I don't know how to play it. He could play Rhino, but I can't. I said, it's only 3 chords. You just play as you feel it, and he was okay, but he wasn't confident. He wasn't a natural skiffler, He was, but on the first album we did, he played some nice stuff. Yeah. But I did have to overdub a few little bits myself because he didn't quite get it right as you go into this, But there you are, he never played it before. But he's the loveliest man.
He was, wasn't he?
Loveliest chap. Yes. And I mean, I didn't realise until after he died, the very last gig he did before he died was with us at the Bromyard Music Festival.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of videos of him and me playing Diana and Sweet Georgia Brown on YouTube, which has had a lot of hits actually. That's probably where we're up to at the moment, But I'm curtailing my hearing is going down the neck, I'm afraid. So I've decided that I'm going to finish band gigs at the end of this year, 2019, and I'll still carry on doing solo gigs, which isn't too demanding and all that sort of thing. And I'd rather get out now while I'm quite useful rather than somebody saying in a few years' time, he used to be good here, but he's rubbish now, So I thought, get out while you're in a reasonable position. So that's it.
Well, I've just noticed this, actually. Today is the 4th of October. We're recording this. Tomorrow you have a birthday.
Well, I do, actually, yes. 78 years of age. 78 with the body of a man, 77. That's it.
I'm sure you're doing yourself down there. Thank you to Bev for his stories about his time in jazz, and as he says, still doing one-man shows. So a memory of one of his musical loves that we talked about, skiffle.
Freight train, going so fast. Freight train, going so fast. Please don't tell what train I'm on, so they won't know where I'm gone. When I die, Lord, bury me deep, way down on the road, Chestnut Street, so I can hear old number 9 as she. Freight train, don't so fast. Freight train, don't so fast. Please don't tell what train I'm on, so they won't know where I'm gone.
Bev Pegg's skiffle group with all the people he was talking about, actually. Paul Degville on guitar, Harry Rowlands on bass guitar and backing vocals, Ken Wright on drums and backing vocals. And thank you to Bev for that fascinating trip down memory lane. And by coincidence, I met up with Ian Mann from Wall Heath the other week at the Bonded Warehouse in Stourbridge. And on the basis of the first instalment of Bev Pegg's story, which he'd heard, he kindly sent me John Sparry's book, Crazy Rhythm, about some of the musicians who've played at the trumpet over the years. Now, more on that in future shows. So thank you very much to Ian for that one.